What is up, guys? Another video. Working on one of my projects for once. Bit of a change there. Gonna get these Mercedes Grace wheels to fit the Mercedes. Well, just the backs at the moment. I actually gone down, fucked up and ordered the wrong size tyres for the fronts. So I need to get some like 235 40s or something like that, something similar, maybe even 30 profile for the front, just so I can get them to tuck in, run a bit more camber, and she should be sweet. But for now, you can see I've got all my markings and stuff. I'll get the jack under here, jack this up so you can see how tight the fit is already. A little bit of pain from rolling these. Now, I'm not too concerned with how much flaking and everything I get out of this because I'll be painting in the car anyway. But we do have a lot of clearancing, and especially at the back here, I'm not too sure what the go is here and how I'm going to achieve this. I'll get into it. We'll make them fit. So, background on the wheels and tyres, I brought these from New South Wales. I had them shipped to me. Terrible condition, like really bad. I might be able to find some videos or photos or something, I'll chuck them in there. And then since then I've sent them to Alloy Doctor here in Brisbane. They've resprayed. They've just resprayed them in candy apple blue, like a real vivid, as you can see. And I've got some SSR hardware on them too. We'll do like a little screen takeaway to more detail on the wheel here. We've got some spiked hardware and stuff in there, which is a little bit of a character. And we've gone and CNC machined the lip, painted them. I'm going to get some custom center caps chucked in because the Mercedes Grace decals that came with it needed to come out to be painted. So I'm going to get something like CNC machined or something, I don't know, something a little bit different to go in there. And yeah, so rear tyres are 275, 45s, no 35s, 275, 35, 18s. So they're pretty chunky. A little bit of stretch, which is what I wanted. I wanted the same on the front, but I didn't get much stretch at all. They're like a square. I'll go grab one and show you later. Let's get into it. Now this for me is going to be the perfect look, at least. It might not be practical, and I'm actually fine with that to raise the car a little bit more, but from what I can tell it's going to be a good fit. The lip just coming up to this lip, and no need for any extra camber or anything, which is good. But you can see, well, it's awfully tight still, so I'm going to have to get the roller in quite high up here and really start pulling this out. I'm going to trim this, just simply cut this out. Now this plastic stuff here, I'm going to have to like trim it all the way up to the edge and see how that goes. I might see if there are camber kits for these. It would be nice to run a little bit more on the back just to get it to tuck. But there's kind of like two real options that I run with. That would be ideal, but I'm also quite happy with having it sit about there as well with a little bit of tyre sticking out. I mean, that's still very good. Still looks pretty good like that. And the other side is completely stock, so if we take a quick view here, see how much it's already pulled out. Go around this side, and how much it's not pulled out. So I'm going to get in there, I'm going to trim some stuff, and I'm going to get the roller out again, get the heat gun, and keep going at it. That is the wobble bolt. So it's got this little rubber guy here. If we push that down, like so. Obviously easier said than done. You can see this head wobbles, moves around. So it's a smaller diameter bolt on the shank at the top, and it just means when you bolt it in on an offset hole, the face of this still makes full flat contact with the taper and the wheel, maintains a good clamping force, and they are, yeah, just a good alternative to get wheels that don't fit to fit. Like the 5x100 is a pain in my ass. You don't get any Japanese wheels in that. Well, not at my price range anyway. Yeah. And you can kind of see, well, what you can't see is the actual spring on the coilover setup. So they run a damper and coil independently. Coil sits inboard and the shock absorber sits outboard. So I've just got this in to maintain the correct arc, the correct travel that the wheel will go in. But without the spring, it means I can move it through its whole kind of motion in full and see if and where it's going to rub. Makes life a little bit easier. Well, yes and no, you got to take out a coil spring, which is a pain in the ass, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. So that's the way that I like to do it anyway. I'm going to get the old roller back out, get some more heat into this. It's starting to ripple quite bad, but then it's an 18 by 10, trying to fit in this little Mercedes, so it is what it is. I'm going to get the grinder and I'm going to trim the living shit out of this. I'm actually going to cut most of this lip off and then probably maybe tap this out with a soft mallet. Still got a plastic trim to go on here, which I hope we'll be able to work some way out and keep it kind of retained, because that is ugly. And might actually just take this whole bumper off and get this sorted and then work on this later. However I'm going to do that. Now that we got the perch as low as it will go, like the spring obviously sits on this perch here, the lower perch. I've taken off the locking nut just to get all of the maximum lows. Technically, yeah, I guess you could remove this lower perch and maybe machine up a sleeve or use a bit of tube or something. But for me, that's probably going to be low enough, and we might even need to raise it. So we'll just chuck it in and test it out as is. And yeah, you can see if you didn't have that lower perch, it's going to have some movement. If you're comfortable with that, then I guess that's sweet. I'm not exactly comfortable with that. So, lower perch. And yeah, let's go chuck that in. Alright, so we are maxed out on the coilover. That's as low as it can ever go. Well, you know, like I said before, if you want to get rid of that lower patch and stuff, and go ahead. Our tyre seems to clear pretty well. A little bit tight in here. A little bit tight here. That's under full compression on this side as well, so I think it will sit a little bit higher than this, given that all of the weight is on this wheel currently. Essentially, I only need to just clean this edge up here, pull this out maybe not even pull it out. Probably not even going to bother. Might do a little tap with a hammer maybe, pull this out a bit, and then see inside here. This section right here kind of needs to come out a smidge as well. Both of which I think I can do with the spring still in, which is good. Yeah, pull that, I'm happy with that. And then we'll go to the other side. And then trim this plastic back. I mean, that's likely to rub every now and then, but yeah, I think if I cut this section here, so this just essentially becomes a flap. Do the same here. We're going to get rid of these tabs and stuff, all this crap behind it. It might flap around a little bit, but hey, who cares? And same with this lower section down here. We'll probably do the old trim still. Might even cut it down there and then just have this kind of sitting on top. Not too sure. We'll have a look, but I'm pretty happy with that. Ooh, yeah, definitely. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Like, not perfect, but it's a good ride height. And as you saw, there's plenty of travel for the wheel to go up and not rub on anything for quite some time. Like, it can tuck in there pretty bloody good. So I'm happy with that. The ride height at this height's pretty good too. Like, it's not too crazy. And it can certainly go lower, but I think there's good. I'm gonna have to, like, this isn't obviously screwed in, bolted up yet. There's one mounting point there that'll hold this in, and that's where it will sit. But what I'm thinking is I'll get some aluminium flat bar and kind of make up a stay behind here as well. Like, kind of frame this up behind the fender, because I don't want this flapping around, obviously. I do need to thin that out some more. Oh, not that section. This section here, like along this leading edge, I need to thin that out, and with an aluminium section or even a mild steel section behind here, that'll kind of just stiffen that up, and that'll be good. I'm just going to chuck a bolt or something at the back of the plastic in here, work out how I'll do that, and then that can go through with the wheel off. I'll be able to chuck a nut on and that'll hold it. I'll clean up that cut there so it's at least straight, and get some paint on the other underside so it's not going to rust or anything, and then I'll hold that on. That should be good. And that'll cover this side pretty much completely. And this side here though, I'm going to re-roll. I'm going to bring it out like 4 mil, I think I measured. Another 4 millimeters, bring it out a little bit, and that'll balance it with the other side, and it gives me that, again, it gives me that clearance, the enough tuck for the wheel to go all the way up and not rub on anything. And then we'll do the same on this. Trim this. You can see that it is not happy because there is that steel, there's like that steel bar that runs in there. I need to cut it to give it some flex. The other side fits the way it does because I heated up the whole side and kind of flexed it out and pulled it out a bit, and that's why it fits a little bit better on that side. So I'll do the same on this side and get the bumper back on. She should be sweet. see how it looks on the car. Our test fit's looking promising. So with this pushed in to about there, so it sits flush, I'm going to put a nutset on the inside of this, drill a hole up through here, and that's where it will mount. So it'll be like that. Do believe I'll need to get some seam sealer or body glue just to glue these two together so they stay nice and tight, just like this. So I even just putting my finger up against there, like, it's looking pretty good. It's got that little bit of a kick out down the bottom, nothing too much, but you can see on this side, that top corner, that is going to need some trimming, but I think with the top part stepping out as well, like this part steps out still, if I trim that, it's not going to be as noticeable, and yeah, looking good. The other side is pretty much the same. This part is sticking out a little bit more. I think it might have come out of the bracket there. Not a big issue though. I can push that back in, and do keep in mind bumper's not actually aligned. But this one here, you notice there's a bigger step where the arrow is, bigger step, and that's because I still need to go over this and pull this side out. One more roll, that should bring this out nicely, match the other side and give me perfect clearance the whole way through the motion of the coilover. Gonna chuck some more air in these tires actually. Yeah, and then we got these bad boys to go. Remount the rear end. I need to get that body glue. That's probably the last thing that I'll do. Obviously reattach the bumper, realign everything, get the old Dremel up, trim some of that plastic back, and that's done. Can't wait for all this trim to be finished actually, this whole rear section. I think that's going to be a tomorrow job. I'm going to finish that up, finish up the rear end. Might not have the glue, but we'll get everything else done, get the nutset and everything in there, get that front plastic trim, this stuff here, get that all fitted. We'll come around to the front, and like I was saying earlier, put it all together. We'll use the camber washers on that side that hasn't been touched yet. Sack it as much as possible. We'll just tuck the AMG wheels back on the front for now, and see what kind of ride height in the front she's got. Like that's not actually level, it should be a lot lower in the front, but that's as low as the jack goes with it currently sitting on the lowest part of the subframe. It doesn't actually sit any lower than that, so is what it is. Still looking pretty tough.
Just noticed wheel rotation. Well, tire rotation. Correct. Not so correct. Fuck. What the fuck? It's not even the first set of wheels that have had this happen either. The DC5 set of tyres was like this as well. Put on the wrong way. All the wheel weights fell off. Now I'm going to have to go check these wheel weights as well, just to make sure. What the paint is peeling off the back. What the fuck? It's like brake fluid or something. That's probably actually whatever compound they use to secure these, and it's now seeping out the back and eating the paint off it. That's fan-fucking-tastic. Good start, alloy doctor. Well, it's not even a good start, it's the second fucking set of wheels. I have to check those. Oh, fucking yeah. Alright, anyway. Got some pilot holes drilled. That bad boy there. I'm just going to start with one. I'm going to take the bumper back off to do this. To drill out the holes bigger and to get the nutsets in there obviously as well. We've got one up this side too. Yeah. Ooh, that one's a little bit off center. So I can just use a bigger drill bit and recenter that. And I also got this trim sitting back in there, which is good. You can see how much, yeah, you can see how much I have to pull these out. Should really find a couple of photos of the AMG wheels on there versus the big boys, and just how much I've actually had to pull out. Like, because I think I've seen it every day. I don't think I've pulled these out too much. Like, I don't, my perspective on it isn't much, but yeah, okay, I think maybe, yeah, might have pulled a bit out. Anyway, we'll get into that. We'll clean this crap up too. We'll get the rest of that on there, and yeah, I'm gonna roll this now actually, get the roller on it. Yeah, wash it? Yeah. This is the setup we're gonna use to fix the end of this, obviously to that. So we're just gonna chuck one of these stainless bolts through here, a little washer on the end to fit, and a nutset aluminium one in the actual body itself. Chuck that up there, and that should hold it all together. And see, it's just got this. So I'm gonna get the heat gun onto this as well, and see if I can just kind of get it to like get a memory of this position here. Maybe grab a peg or something and just sit it there, because that's perfect. Right there is perfect. But in the future, I am just going to absolutely cake the inside of that and the seam sealer, just so that it is bonded and holds together. And yeah, we're gonna have to probably take a little bit off this little tab actually. Look at that side compared to that. So, oh no, it's about the same. It's about right. Gonna drill a holes for this too. Check some nutserts in there. Probably gonna use the same Allen bolt, and that just bolts this outer plastic trim to this alloy bracket. We're gonna have to take this off anyway, so we can go through and add some rivets to this frame. Maybe, no, I don't think nutserts will fit. There's probably not enough room down there. I don't really want to risk it, so I'm just going to rivet this bastard on, get some big chunky boys in there, and yeah, let's do it.